What's going on, y'all? Big Stacks Porzingis back with another episode of the Through the Wire Myleague. Since the last time I saw y'all, a lot has happened, and right there, y'all see 15 and 34. A bit of a disappointment. I was talking a lot of big talk at the beginning of this, saying how we could potentially be a playoff team and sneak in as one of the last seeds, but obviously that's not going my way. I don't even know where to start. Anyway, the first game we played against one of the Through the Wire co-hosts was against the Mavericks. It was against Kenny, and I was telling y'all that I would probably get some footage of this game to give to y'all. But this game was very confusing for me on a lot of different reasons. I'm going to show y'all the box score of the Mavericks at first, who came out in the game very aggressive. They started the game off with a 9-0 run. And crazy enough, Kenny did not start. When you go over the team overview, he's hurt right now, so they're not showing him as a starter. But when you look at the team overview, when he's healthy, he's the starting shooting guard. But when I play them, he wasn't starting. They started Wesley Matthews, which was very confusing. And it says a lot, and it makes more sense when you think of it in that terms. When you look at his overall stats, not a bad game. 4 for 7, only took 7 shots though. That was a little disappointing in 29 minutes. When you look at a guy like Wesley Matthews, who played 29 minutes, he took 12 shots and was 1 for 6 and was terrible, but he still had the green light to shoot it. And the reason I said it makes sense is because him not starting put him in a bit of a situation that didn't really help his game flourish. And he was real limited because, crazy enough, I know it might sound crazy, but the second unit off the bench for this team had J.J. Barrera and Yogi Ferrell in the backcourt. And then Kenny was the small forward. So they running a 3-guard, second unit, and the tallest out of the 3 is Kenny, who is 6'2". So it was a mismatch, and we kind of ran out for the game in the second quarter because they just couldn't control us. And that's exactly why Devin Booker went off and had 31 points in 31 minutes, because we exposed them. Every time we came down the floor, we ran a set that had Devin Booker posting up, and he either had Yogi Ferrell on him or JJ Barrera. And once in a while, a couple times, he had Kenny on him, and then Kenny is even giving up 4 inches on him. So I didn't even get the chance to finish the game. I simulated the game after the second quarter, or in the middle of the second quarter, just because even though it's on Hall of Fame, it was just entirely too easy. And the way the Mavericks were playing the game was just not, it wasn't right, and it wasn't like JJ Barrera, 1 for 16. Those are the type of things that was happening. And, Jahlil Okafor is their starting center, which is ridiculous. And he put up 24 and 10. He did not have a good game when we were playing during the game. But I guess the simulation of the second half allowed him to get his numbers up this high. The only thing I can say that they did that was good, Harrison Barnes at a stretch came in with the second unit, and he played some power forward for them. And Dragon Bender, who was our stretch 4 off the bench, was the guy assigned to guard him, and he just couldn't keep up with Harrison Barnes. And I think Harrison Barnes got all of his 9 points in that in that part of the game. But if you look at everything else, 36 minutes, he got 9 points, 4 for 14, 0 for 4 from 3. Dennis Smith Jr. is the only guy that really performed at the high level when I actually played. His numbers make sense. He was hitting threes out of his world. He was out there looking like Steph Curry. He played a real good game. But I just feel like a backcourt with him and Kenny can be successful. But it just don't make sense to me as to why Wesley Matthews is starting, especially when it says that Kenny is starting. So I went into the settings to take control of the Mavericks franchise and to fix their lineup real quick. And I went to every team that all of the castmates are on to make sure that they're starting. And he was already starting. But for some reason, when he played against us, he came off the bench, and that really did not do his game any justice as far as, just his overall stats. Like I said, he still had a solid game, 10, 7, and 3. But when you look at him taking only 7 shots, and he hit 4 out of 7 of them, better, more than half, and then 2 for 3 from the 3. And then you go down and you look at Wesley Matthews shooting 2 for 12 in his 29 minutes, Barrera only played 22 minutes and shot 1 for 16. When you look at things like that, it just makes you scratch your head, and that's just some of this stuff is just out of your control. 2K just gotta, they gotta have better logic in their gameplay during the simulation. For the most part, my dude had a solid game, 19 and 9, 4 assists, 6 for 10. TJ Warren was solid with 17 and 5. That's the type of game we want to see him have. Alex Lynn had 12 rebounds, 2 blocks. That's pretty much all we asked for him. Kemba 20 and 7, and Wendell Carter 11 and 9, very solid. Tyler Ulis 8 and 6. So everybody pretty much came and played a overall game for us. Everybody showed up and we got the W. And you can see early on we were a good team. We started off the season 5-2, and then we just lost control. This is a game right here that I simcasted. And if a lot of y'all are not familiar with simcast, it's when you simulate a game, but allows you to watch the simulation happen, and you have the option to jump in and play the game at any moment. And so this game went down to the wire. And so like the last seconds of the fourth quarter, the last 50 seconds, I jumped in and played and controlled it. And we ended up going into overtime. Y'all can see my dude went off and had a 20-20 game. When I jumped into the game, he had 16 points and 18 rebounds. And then through the course of the overtime, he secured the 20-20. I actually got the last 5 minutes or last 6 minutes of the game and the entire overtime, some footage of it. I'll probably put that at the end of this video. It's not any footage of me actually playing. You won't get any commentary from me, but you'll get 6 minutes of the actual gameplay, and you'll get to see Devin Booker go off. You'll be able to see me run a set that I was on a podcast talking about the Thunder running, the Hawks set. I was referring to them, running that set during their winning streak and how they should have gone back to it. You'll get to see me run that set with Devin Booker, and he executed it perfectly and knocked down the shots and really closed the game out for us overtime. Kemba Walker 12 and 8, Ulis at 15 and 1, Warren 12 and 5, Alex Lynn 10-7 and a block. Everybody showed up again. Pretty much, just solid. We don't really have that guy off the bench. Tyler Ulis has been it, was being it early on in the season. But we just asked for a solid contribution from everybody across the board. Over on the Hornets side, Batum put up a really good game. Howard had 24 rebounds. Trae Young 3 for 15 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3. Really struggled. Malik Monk the same, 3 for 13, 2 for 4 from 3. Frank Kaminsky 2 for 8. So they really struggled defensively. We locked up good in overtime, was able to execute this. And then right after this win, I felt good. I felt like my statements about us potentially making the playoffs, would transpire. But we beat Derek in the Bulls, and Derek was hurt, so I didn't really pay too much attention to this game. My dude had 12 points, 17 rebounds, another big rebounding game. My dude has been having a number of these big rebounding games. You see Alex Lynn with the 16 and 13. But then, like I said, after that, we lost to the Warriors, which is understandable. Then the Pelicans, then Portland, then Miami, then we lost quick 6 in a row and was below 500. Came back and got back to 500 with a win against the Hawks, and then we just dropped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We dropped 12 straight, and that really just that really sunk our season below. And then again, you see another stretch: 1, 2, 3, 4, another 5-game losing streak. Then bam, another 5-game losing streak. And right now we're currently on a 4-game losing streak. And right now is a trade deadline. I did simulate. Once I simulated a month and we kind of went on that losing streak of 12, I just kind of folded, and it was just like I got real frustrated and moved on forward. So I'm gonna try my best in this episode to catch y'all up on what I simulated. As y'all can see, like I said, we 15 and 39. I showed y'all the losing streaks and everything we went through. I'll give y'all a quick glance of the award races. You got LeBron at the top of the most valuable player award. Russell trailing them. They both pushing for a triple-double average on the season. You see Ben Simmons, 16, 7, and 7, and he's 4th in the race. The Sixers are having a tremendous season. You see James Harden, he's in the race again. Your usual suspects. It's good to see Ben Simmons in here. Numbers not out of this world, but he's still impacting his team and putting up a well-rounded box score every night. Rookie of the year, I'm leading the way with the 11 points, basically 9 rebounds, 5 assists. You know, putting together a pretty overall, you know, stat sheet. Very Lamar Odom-esque, playing a small forward / power forward, point forward type of role for this team, creating a lot of opportunities for Devin Booker, T.J. Warren, Kemba Walker, things like that. So you see my assist numbers are really flourishing. And I'm also hitting the glass. Playing that power forward position has allowed my dude to really hit the glass a lot. And I've had very, very crazy rebounding games of 20, as I showed y'all, 17. He had other couple 15 rebounding games. And then you got Marvin Bagley, 17-9, doing good with the Memphis Grizzlies. Luka Doncic, you know, across the board, 15-5-4, you know, pretty solid for the Pistons. Then you have Michael Porter Jr. and Derek, teammates, rounding it out. Michael Porter Jr. putting up 17-5, which is very big for them. And then Derek, you know, 10-7-3, bouncing back from the tough summer league. 3 assists for him. That's very good. He's, you know, showing his passing ability as a big man. And he also had an injury, so you know he missed some time from that. 6 man of the year: Batum, Fred VanVleet, Eric Gordon, Melo doing his thing with the Thunder, 18-5 and 2 off the bench. That's giving the Thunder a big boost, I would guess. Saric, 13-5 and 2. I believe that the 76ers have inserted Markelle Fultz into their starting lineup, so it pushed Saric to the bench. But yeah, Batum, 13-5-5 off the bench, real solid for the Hornets. You know, they got a good mix of veterans with the young talent that we gave them. Defensive player of the year, Giannis. For a while, Kawhi Leonard was leading the charge, but you know, the 2 blocks, and I mean the 2 steals and almost 1.5 blocks is doing him justice. Kawhi is right there. I don't understand why Hassan Whiteside is above Kawhi. I feel like him and Giannis should be 1-2, really going head to head for the award, but you know, that's 2K for you. And then you got Clint Capella and DeAndre Jordan rounding it out. Most improved, Zubac. He's been in this race all season long. Throughout the simulation, I've been checking these awards, and he's stayed in it. Kyle Kuzma too. His numbers dropped a little bit. He was averaging around 15. And the reason he's in it is because in real life he averaged like 14, 15 points. But when I simulated the game last season, he only averaged 10 points. Right here, he only averaged 10 points, 10 points, 4 rebounds, which is crazy. Then you got Jamal Murray averaging 17-5. And that's pretty much it. All-Star, Michael Porter Jr. made the All-Star team as a rookie, which is crazy. Another thing 2K got to work on. Aaron Gordon was a first-time All-Star. Everybody else is usual suspects. As far as the West goes, usual suspects again. Jokic makes his first All-Star game. Dunk contest, Michael Porter Jr. is in it, which is very surprising. 89 dunk, I don't know if that's accurate. Michael Porter Jr. can dunk, obviously he's 6'10", but as far as flashiness or, you know, the whatever you call it, the showmanship in his dunks, I don't know if it's there to participate in the dunk contest. You know what I mean? But you know, whatever. No three-point shootout contestants yet. Hopefully they'll show those in the next week or so, right before All-Star Weekend. As far as team success, we can go right here in the standings and show you the conferences. The Golden State Warriors topping it off in the West. Oklahoma City right below them. You got the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Spurs following that for the top 4 seeds. And then, you know, Houston, New Orleans, Denver, and the Clippers rounded out as the last 4. And it's real close, real tight. 5, 6, and 7 all got, you know, similar records. The Spurs and the Timberwolves kind of close. And then the Timberwolves, the Spurs are still close with the Rockets, Pelicans, and the Nuggets. And then you have the Timberwolves close to the Thunder and Warriors. So it's all pretty close. That A seed is kind of close too. Between the Kings and the Clippers. The Kings, you know, they signed Isaiah Thomas and Will Barton. Right now, De'Aaron Fox is hurt, but they still have him. So they put together a pretty decent team. Jaren Jackson, the stretch 4. Bogdanovic and Buddy Hield, you know, on the wing. So they pretty solid in making it happen. The Utah Jazz have been a bit of a disappointment. You know, Mike Mason is starting. I didn't know that he was starting, but I guess he's starting now. Giving you 10-4. Been shooting the ball crazy from deep. He was shooting like 53%. At one point, it's dropped down to 45%, which is still good. And when you look at this team, you look at Ricky Rubio, Donovan Mitchell, Mike Mason, Derek Favors, Gobert. Then you see Joe Ingles, Crowder, Seth Curry, Alec Burks, Ilyasova, Rondo, Al Jefferson, Exum, Tony Bradley. You know, we can forget about Tony Bradley, but when you look at the rest of the team, this team look pretty stacked of solid role players. And I was expecting them to be a lot better. When you have Exum, Jefferson, Rondo, Ilyasova, Alec Burks, Seth Curry, they have shooters, they have defense, they got wings, they got size, they got ball handlers, playmakers. They got a little bit of everything. And I thought they would really be complimented by the offseason pieces that they added with Mike Mason, with the Seth Curry acquisition. Ersan Ilyasova stretches the floor. Rajon Rondo is a veteran point guard, you know, who's going to add some playmaking to the team, and another ball handler. And then Al Jefferson is returning to Utah and is a present for the paint. And then you got Exum, a young 6'6" long point guard, who can put out there and be a versatile defender. And then you got the bottom feeders in the West, and that's Phoenix and Dallas. Me and Kenny, both of our teams at the bottom of the conference, you know, basically fighting for the #1 pick at this point instead of a playoff race. You know, Mason is on the best team of all of us rookies. Marvin Bagley and the Memphis Grizzlies haven't really amounted to anything. Mike Conley hurt. Tyreek Evans is hurt. So I expected them to be a lot better. But I guess the injuries got to them again. The Lakers haven't really made that much of an improvement. Really no improvement. They've actually regressed. The free agency didn't really go their way. Walter Tavares is their starting center. And then you sign Austin Rivers. But they have not gotten that star yet. And then, you know, Kuzma along with Zubac. So I guess this offseason, hopefully the Lakers will get the start they've been looking for. And then when we look out east for Mike and Derek, the Cleveland Cavaliers are the best team. The best overall team in the NBA, 39-14. Clarkson, Hood, Bron, Love, and Aiden. Then when you look at this bench of Larry Nance, George Hill, Tristan Thompson, Seti, Zizic, Derrick Jones Jr., J.R. Smith, Caspi, Kyle Korver, this looks like a real Cavaliers lineup. You know, some veterans, some shooters to put around LeBron. Caspi can stretch the floor. Derrick Jones Jr. is a leaper. And then you got some big man who can rebound, defensive mind and point guard, and George Hill who can play off the ball. Jordan Clarkson is also going to play off the ball. And Aiden is really, what they were missing in real life. And he's giving them 11 and 7 and damn near two blocks. And we all know in real life, that's what they're missing. That solid guy in the paint who can protect the rim and rebound at an extreme level. And now that they have him, they turn around and are the best team in the NBA. Then following them is the young Philadelphia Sixers. Not as young anymore because they've added an extra year. Markelle Fultz was a starting point guard. I'm not sure if he's recovering from an injury. I would believe that to be the case. It doesn't say anything about an injury, but right now T.J. McConnell is the starting point guard. But I literally just checked this not too long ago, and Markelle Fultz is starting point guard. J.J. Redick they brought back. Ben Simmons and B.E. in the front court. Miles Bridges, they were able to retain him. Draft him in the NBA draft from their draft pick from the Lakers, I believe. He's starting right now only because Covington is returning from an injury. And it looks like he might be fully healthy. So, I don't know what they're doing. They just switched it up, different lineups, I guess. But, yeah, he's healthy and back. And they just got to wear around the team that they continue to add to. The Boston Celtics, 3rd seed, Kyrie, Smart, Hayward, Scott, Horford, Tatum off the bench, Brown off the bench. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 580 overalls off the bench. Their second unit has all 80s. Rozier's the point guard. These are the two wings, and this is the front court. So all 80s. Amazing. 2K's logic should be a little bit better. Marcus Smart probably wouldn't start over one of these guys. Neither would Mike Scott. But you know how 2K is. They're still flourishing, and I think that this is just beautiful. I mean, this is a starting lineup on a bad team. You know, you take this five and put them on and put them on a team and make them the starters. This would be a young rising starting five, and that's their second unit. So the Celtics will be dangerous. You got the Bucks. Dellavedova has been offered in trade rumors all season. I've been getting alerts that he's, you know, they're trying to trade him. But Bledsoe is hurt right now. Same with Brogdon, so he's starting, and they've been holding off. You got the Middleton, Greek Freak, and Jabari all holding it down. And then it's a big drop off. So unlike the West, which is kind of real balanced and competitive, you got the two top teams. Then you got the 3 and 4 who kind of close, and then, you know, after the 4th seed, it's a big drop off. You know, the Pistons at the 5th seed are just one game over 500. Mike and the Orlando Magic have emerged into the playoffs and are 6th seed. I guess this entire time I thought because of their record they weren't a playoff team, but I didn't know the East was this bad. So they are 26 and 28, below 500, and are the 6th seed in the playoffs. And you see Mike, the starting shooting guard, Fournier at the 3, Aaron Gordon, Vucevic, Jonathan Isaac, and Simmons off the bench with Biyombo. And then Raptors at the 7th seed. DeRozan and Lowry still in that backcourt. Jonas still at the 5, and I don't know why Trevor Booker is starting over Ibaka, but that's nor here nor there. 5, 6, 7. Then you got the Nets. The Nets trying to come in at that 8th seed. D'Angelo Russell trying to lead this young Nets team to the playoffs for the first time in a few years. Then you got the Miami Heat right below them, chasing them. And then the Bulls not too much out of it. You know, they still have a second half of the season to put something together. The Washington Wizards are disappointing again with this same starting lineup that they've had the past 3 or 4 years. Look like they headed to the lottery. And then the Knicks are the bottom feeder, you know, with this crazy backcourt and Emmanuel Mudiay and Ron Baker. And that's pretty much, you know, what's been going on. As far as everybody else, I know only me and Derek were in the Rookie of the Year race, so we were the only 2 rookies that you were able to see statistically. Here's Kenny and his numbers. On the season, he is averaging 15 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, shooting 40% from 3, 56% from the free throw line, and then 44% from the field. So it looks like he is a starter. It looks like with these numbers that he's back to being a starter, which I felt like he should be. And these are more better numbers. And I think these numbers are better because he's playing with Dennis Smith Jr. and they complement each other real well. I'm just confused until why it says he's a 2-year pro when he's a rookie. Let's edit this and see if there's a way we can change that, because he should definitely be a rookie. So maybe he'll be in the Rookie of the Year race now, because that was incorrect. So yes. Yes, so now he's a rookie. Okay, cool. And then what we got, Mike. Yeah, Mike averaging 12 points, 2 rebounds. That 1 assist is bothering me. Mike is much better than that in real life, so he should be better on the game, because I feel like I gave him, you know, some playmaking things. But I mean, I guess he's just a scorer with this Orlando Magic team. But yeah, he's shooting 33% from the 3, which is disappointing, but he's shooting 76% from the free throw and 40% from the field. It's real solid. And the Magic are in the playoffs. So, you know, he's the only rookie so far from through the wire that's on a playoff team. And then, yeah, I showed you Derek. Derek is returning from an injury and, you know, improving his numbers. Much better regular season than what we saw in the Summer League. And right now is a trade deadline. So because of our record at 15-39 and this disappointing year we've had, I did some evaluation on our roster. TJ Warren is out, returning from, you know, shoulder injury. But when I look at this roster, you know, I look at a team that I felt like was good and balanced. And, you know, we had 4 80s, and then we had a 5th emerging 80. So I felt like we were going to have a starting lineup of all 80s. But when you look at the team like the Celtics, who has a second unit on the bench of all 80s, you see that we need to improve somewhat. But even then, if you look at our bench, we got 77s who are moving up in the upwards direction, close to the 80s, we not that far off. So it's just something ain't clicking on this team. Something just ain't working. And I think it's Kemba Walker. And the reason I say this, because when you look at his numbers from last year compared to this year, he's taking a step back. And we knew he was going to take a step back. You know, in Charlotte, he was the #1 guy. The ball was in his hands 90%, 95% of the time. Now he's coming to a team where Devin Booker is the go-to guy. They just drafted me. I'm a playmaker. That's why I have, you know, damn near just as many assists as him. So the ball isn't glued into his hands as much as it was his previous seasons in Charlotte. But his points per game is drastically down. You know, he's 9 points off of his average from last year. And then even the year before that, he averaged 23. So he took a major step back in the points per game category. The assists I'm not too worried about because, like I said, we drafted me, and my strength is playmaking. So of course his numbers in the rebound, in the assist category was going to go down. And then Devin Booker is also averaging like 4 assists. So we got playmakers on this team. So his assists were bound to go down. But then the steals went down. He's not averaging 1 steal anymore. He's been averaging damn near 1 steal all of his career. And now that's not even there. Shooting the ball only 37%. The lowest it's been in the last 3 years. And he's playing 30 minutes, and he's getting his shot attempts. His minutes have went down. That's for sure. But the shot attempts are still there. He's the second option. You look at some of these box scores of these games, and you'll see Kemba Walker is getting his shots. You know, he's 15 shots here, just as many shots as Devin Booker. This is a good game for him. They both had 20 and 8. But he's a leader in shot attempts. So for his numbers to be down as much as they are, it's just very surprising and disappointing. Here again, 13 shots. Only person that got more shots than him is Devin Booker. 31 minutes. So he's playing a lot. He's getting the shot and opportunities, except he's just not doing anything with the opportunity. Again, tied for second in shots. Only person who took more shots is my dude. Him and Devin Booker both had 11. My dude took 13. That's very rare for me. My dude averages around 8 shots a game. 12 shots again. Only person with more shots is Devin Booker. Another game. Kemba Walker, 16 shots. He led the team in shooting. 1 for 6 from 3. He's just not doing anything with his opportunities, and it's just not working here. And we were counting on him to be a big part of us potentially making the playoffs. Again, 15 shots again, 3 for 10 for 3. 32 minutes. So, the opportunity is there. It's just that he's not doing anything with it, or the style, the system that we're in doesn't complement his game. I don't know if he's used to flourishing and having the ball in his hands. I guess he needs the ball. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he needs to be in a system like the Hornets where he is the go-to guy. He's the guy controlling the ball for 90% of the game. He's the go-to guy. I guess that's what he needs, because here it's not working. And the thing about the trade with him is that he's on a 1-year contract. And just from right now, we got a new coach, new system, a lottery draft pick who's looking to be the rookie of the year. We have an emerging star in Devin Booker, who is 88 overall, moving towards a 90. We have a solid young wing, and T.J. Warren, who's only 25. He's given us 15 and 5, which is very solid. That's all we really pretty much asking from him. His rebounds went down to 4. He was pushing towards the 5 earlier in the season. And then we have a center in Alex Len, who all we're asking to do is rebound, and that's what he's been doing, and block shots. And he's doing that. We could use a couple more blocks. We could use double-digit rebounds. At a certain point in this season, he was averaging 10-plus rebounds. They went down a little bit. But he's doing pretty much everything we're asking him to do. Damn near averaging a double-double. And we just need Kemba Walker to be the Kemba Walker that we thought we were going to get. Like I said, the assists have no problem with that, because he's averaging 6 assists. Booker's averaged pretty much 5 assists. My guy's averaging 5 assists. Tyler Ulis is not averaging as many assists as I thought. But we have 3 guys averaging 5 assists or more. So we don't need Kemba Walker to average 8 assists. But still, 19 points compared to 24 last year, and he's getting the same amount of shots. He's getting even more shots. The shots aren't the problem. He's getting plenty of opportunity to shoot the ball. I just don't understand, what's going on. And he's 20. He's 29. I mean, he's 28. So in the offseason, he's going to be turning 29. He's going to want a big contract. You know what I'm saying? And then also, he's basically told us that he's going to try free agency. He's going to test free agency. And we can't afford to lose him for nothing. It says I still might resign this coming offseason, but not before I test my value in free agency. So he's definitely going to test free agency and see what's out there. Somebody might be willing to give him a 4-year contract. We're not confident enough in Kemba to give him that. So we're in a position to where now we're going to be forced to trade him because we cannot afford to lose him for nothing, given the fact that we've given up a first-round pick a year from now. Luckily, we didn't give up this current draft pick that we have because, it looks like we're going to be fighting for a number 1 pick potentially. You look at the mock draft, they have us projected to have the number 2 overall pick in this year's up-and-coming draft. So thank the Lord we kept that pick. But we gave them Josh Jackson, Marquise Chris, and then the draft pick, which is big. So right now the dilemma is to get rid of Kemba Walker and get something solid in return. It's not a lot on the market, so it's going to be very challenging, but something that we got to do. So that's the goal. Get rid of Kemba Walker. Right now, like I said, we've had a disappointing season. We're going to try to take advantage of this up-and-coming draft, the talent that's in the draft. My little brother's in the draft. We're going to try to get him. Hopefully, if we can secure a top pick. And right now, we're just going to try to move on from Kemba Walker.
Porzingis again! That brought the crowd to their feet.